Number 6, learning styles. By this I mean your students or your child's learning style, but also you need to be aware of your own learning style, because it's basically the way in which you process information or that you most easily receive information. For example, if I first you start off with your objective, say today I want my children to learn about the long E sound or long vowels. Okay, well, do you want to sit down and give your child a worksheet with a bunch of, long E words on it and have them match them, to the appropriate vowel? Or do you want to put on a song about long E? That would be your auditory learner called the listeners. Okay, let me back up a little bit. There are 3 known learning styles. Of course, that's known ones. There's more out there. And that would be the visual spatial, which are the lookers, the eyes. They are visual, they like to see. And that's how they easily learn, is by seeing. Okay, then we have our 2 auditory learners, our listeners, who learn most by listening. This would be those who like to listen to lectures, like to listen to, music, or to, YouTubes and learn about how to do things. Then you have your kinesthetic and tactile, and that's your movers. Those who like to touch, those who like to dance, who like to, do hands-on projects. So going back to, if you want your objective for the day, learning long E, okay, or learning long vowel sounds. So are you going to give them that piece of paper? Are you going to put on the song and the music and dance to it and clap to it? Or are you going to have them actually play a game where they, they're, moving the pieces, and or are you going to have them listen to, and say we did the music, that's listeners, we did the lookers, the visual spatial. Visual spatial would be like actually having them maybe put it up visually where you have like an actual video, or it would be having the letters, like, you have plastic letters laid out on a table, and that's visual, they can see it. That could also be, the worksheet can be considered visual as well, because that's something, of course, that they're seeing. But you have the letters laid out, and then as they touch each letter, each vowel, they would tell you, oh, this makes this sound when it's short, it makes this sound when it's long. That would be like the visual. And so that would be like, or you can have them, put the plastic letters in water and make it sensory, and they have to pull it out. That'd be like your tactile touching. And of course, these can overlap and blend too. You could be doing visual and auditory at the same time. Okay, but definitely know the best way that your child learns, because that way, especially when you're coming across a complicated objective that might be new or difficult for them, give it to them in the best way that they're able to receive it. If you know that it's visual, then give it to them visually. Don't really, but then at the same time, you want to challenge them and also give it to them in multiple ways, and be aware of those multiple ways of the different learning styles, so that you know that you have touched on visual, you have touched on auditory, you have touched on kinesthetic. Always try to blend those 3 and balance it out, because you don't want them to just be really heavy in one area. Of course, you want to introduce that way first, because that's their best learning style, but then try to use the other ones too, so that they're able to get used to receiving information in other ways and balance themselves out, if that makes sense. So of course, why learning styles? Because it's a way to motivate them. They're going to be more excited about learning about it if it's in a way that they easily can do it. That's just the way we're probably designed as humans. I mean, the way that's easiest is the way that we're going to be most likely to take, and that we enjoy the most. It's the way of least obstruction. It makes it easier. Why struggle through, doing something? For example, why just do lectures? If you know your child's not auditory, then there's no way you should just be, standing in front of them and talking them to death. You need to really, sit down and, if it's visual spatial, then do it in this visual spatial way. Okay. Let's see. You will know how to adjust your teaching style and classroom environment and materials once you know your child's and your own learning style. And the reason why I say you have to know your own learning style as the parent is because, for me, for example, I have a child that's very visual spatial. I'm not. I like to just see it written down in words and look at it, and that for me is good. So having to learn to teach in other ways was a challenge for me. So I had to get good at that. I had to work at it and learn it. So I'm saying, it's important to know, and the reason why it was challenging for me is because that's not my learning style. So if you can understand why you're struggling with, presenting your child a concept in a certain way, that makes it easier to change and to do better at it. That makes sense. So do inventory, learn your learning style, learn your child's learning style, teaching styles, parenting styles, do all that. And now my favorite, multiple intelligences, number 7. The multiple intelligence survey or inventory, however you want to call it. It's kind of like a test, but not. It's like this checklist you go through, and if you're heavy on this end and you know that you're a logical or kinesthetic learner, or that's your area of intelligence. And of course, there's like how many different categories? There's 9. So you could be a blend of these. You could blend 3. You could just be purely one of them. This is a concept that was introduced by Howard Gardner, so it's very popular. I'm sure, whether your children are in school or homeschooled or whatever, you should do this. You should do this inventory, and a lot of schools use it, so it probably has already been done, and you probably are pretty aware of which intelligence your child is. But anyway, like I said, in the description will be links to sites that are my favorite that I like to go to, where you could take the inventories, and of course make sure that the inventory that you take is appropriate for your child's age level or school level. Like